Hello, fourth grade, and welcome to your adding and subtracting mixed numbers lesson. So this lesson comes at a very strange time as we are currently learning how to multiply in our current math unit, but our common assessment for adding and subtracting mixed numbers is happening this coming Friday, so tomorrow. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown on how we add and subtract mixed numbers. So first of all, a mixed number is a whole number that is grouped with a fraction, like you see here, 1 and 2/3. So first I gotta show you the parts of a mixed number. We have our whole number here. Okay, and then we have our numerator. So this is the top number of a fraction. And then we have our denominator right here. Okay, so to remember, think D means below. So denominator is the number that's on the bottom part of a fraction. Okay, numerator is the top. Okay, now that we've seen that, when you see a mixed number, that means there's a whole number of something plus part of something else. Okay, so think of like pizza. I always like to compare mixed numbers to pizza. You may have a whole pizza like this. So there's a whole pizza right there. Okay, and then you may have another pizza where maybe you just have half of it left. That's not exactly a perfect half, but you get the idea. Okay, now then, how do we add these numbers together? Well, let's take a look. I always like to stack them like this. Okay, and let's say 2/5. Okay, so first you need to add your whole numbers. We're going to do that first. Okay, so 1 plus 2 is 3. Okay, next we're going to add our numerators. So 2 plus 2 is 4, but you have to keep it in fraction form. Okay, and then we're going to add our denominators, except you don't really add them. This is where we get confused sometimes. You're not really going to add them. You're just going to leave it the same because when we have common denominators like this, it's 5, we leave it the same. And why is that? Well, if you have 2/5 of something, I'm going to do my best here to split it up into fifths. Yeah, and then. Okay, so we have 2/5. And we're adding 2/5 more, okay? So 1 and 2. So notice that my parts didn't change. There's still 5 there, okay? Right? So all I'm doing is adding 2/5 more to the 2/5 that are already there. So that gives us 4/5. So notice I didn't divide those parts into 10, right? We don't want to double our parts. That's not correct. So hopefully that visual gave you a little more clarity there. Okay. Now we also have to learn how to subtract. I'm going to show you that real quick. Okay, so let's see. We're going to do 3 and 6/7. Go to bigger denominators. Okay, minus 1 and 5/7. Okay, so once again, we start with our whole numbers. So 3 minus 1 is going to be 2. Okay, then we go to our numerators, 6 minus 5 will give us 1. Put it in the numerator spot. Okay, and then remember our denominators. We have common denominators here, so that's going to stay the same. 7. So 2 and 1, 7. Okay. So that's pretty simple because we're working with some pretty friendly fractions here. But what if this happens? Let's say we have 3 and 1/2 plus 1 and 1/2. So let's go through our adding here. 3 plus 1 is 4. Then we have 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay. And then I'm going to leave my denominator the same, 2. Oh, that's an interesting looking fraction. So whenever you see a fraction like this, where the numerator and the denominator are the same, that's actually going to equal 1. So if you get a fraction like that, you have to think 4 plus 1, 5. So our answer here is actually going to be 5. Okay. But what if we end up with something like this? So we get 5 and 4/5 plus 2 and 3/5. You may not see the problem yet, but you will. So 5 plus 2 is going to be 7. Okay, 4 plus 3, also going to be 7. Okay, my denominators. So see that the numerator is larger than the denominator. We call that an improper fraction, and that's not going to fly. We can't leave it like that. So what do? Well, 4th grade, normally we would be dividing this, but because we haven't gone to division yet, I'm going to show you a different way. So my denominator is 5. So that means we have something that's divided into 5 parts. Of course, I picked the one that's really hard to do. Okay. I'm going to do my best here. 2, 3. It's a little funky, but did my best. So when we see this, that means there are 7 parts. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to shade in my hole here. So there's 5 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But I need to shade in 7 parts. So that means I need to go make another one. Okay. So I'm going to do my 5ths again. And it's going to look weird, but that's okay. So I got 5 over here. And I need to shade in 2 more. 1 and 2. Okay. So what fraction do I have here? I got 1 whole shaded, and I've got 2/5 shaded right there. Okay, so this is actually going to be equal to 7/5. And what do I do next? I'm going to take this fixed number and add it to the 7. So I'm going to add 7 plus 1 and 2/5 That's going to be equal to 8 and 2/5. And that's your answer. Okay, so I'm showing you the non-dividing way since we haven't gotten there yet. Okay, so basically just make a picture, and then that way you can see what mixed number that proper fraction is equal to. That's a lot simpler that way. Okay, now let's see. Now we're going to do subtraction and regrouping. So I'm going to take 8. I'm going to pick a friendlier fraction this time. Let's do this. 1/4. Yeah, I like dividing things into 4s. It's a lot easier. Minus 6 and 2/4. All right. So obviously I can't take 2 from 1. That's not going to work. So what do? Well, this is where it gets a little funky. I actually am going to have to borrow from my 8 here, and I'm going to make it a 7. So just like with subtraction, we can do this with fractions as well. So now what I need to do is I have to somehow add 1 to this 1/4, but I can't do it just like that. I have to make it a fraction. So then, how do I do that? Well, look at the denominator. It's a 4. And remember what I told you earlier, when the denominator and numerator are the same, it's equal to 1. So I'm going to put a 4 here and put a 4 here. And that's equal to 1. And then that's going to give me a new fraction. Okay? So now I need to add 1/4 plus 4/4. Okay, but you cannot forget this guy. Okay, so we gotta put him over here. 7, and then 1 plus 4 is 5. And then put a 4 here. So now we got a nice new fraction. That's a lot easier to subtract with. So now I'm gonna take my 6 and 2/4 and put it right here. Nice and neat now. So now we got 7 minus 6 is 1. 5 minus 2 is 3. Don't forget to leave that denominator the same. So there's our answer. Okay, so that in a very quick lesson, that's how we add and subtract mixed numbers.